We'll begin the show tonight with something that everyone seems to be talking about. Has it ever happened to you that you were talking to your friend about something and the next thing you know, your Instagram shows ads for exactly that thing? Well, as spooky as it is, you're not alone. Artificial intelligence in your gadgets is designed to do exactly this. It is, of course, driven by an algorithm, better marketing or viewership. Tonight, we decode what an unsupervised artificial intelligence could actually mean for you and me. You have to be living under a rock if you haven't heard of ChatGPT. Nevertheless, let me explain. An American firm called OpenAI came out with this in just November last year. And in just about 50 days, it has gotten everyone gripped. It's basically an artificial intelligence-powered chatbot. Let me show you what it does. The application opens with a set of capabilities, and I'll get to that later. We asked some basic questions. For example, what is 2 plus 2? It immediately said 4. Then we asked, who is the President of the United States? It said, as of my knowledge, the President of the United States is Joe Biden. Now, these are very straightforward questions, right? Something even Google can tell you. But this is where it gets interesting. If you want a college essay, wedding speeches, or how-to questions, this AI bot has got you covered. Now we put this to test. We asked it to write a leave application to a boss citing some medical concern. And this is what happened. It not only wrote a well-structured email, it gave different reasons for calling in sick, like headache, back pain. You get the idea. Remember, we talked about capabilities. Well, ChatGPT also takes corrections according to your needs. Like we asked, the mail to be addressed to John Smith, and it did. If all this is too much for you to take in, we have more. A professor from one of the top business schools in the world tested the chatbots. Christian Tierweiss teaches at the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania. He asked ChatGPT a question from his MBA exam. The app solved it in minutes and then provided an excellent explanation for it. The professor said the bot would get B or B minus as a grade. Let me tell you, this is no ordinary business school. The College Gazette says Wharton's acceptance rate is approximately 9%. People like Elon Musk and Warren Buffett have studied here. This case is arousing both fascination and caution. We keep hearing that artificial intelligence will take over the world. But what does it really mean? Experts are growing wary. Students could cheat during tests. Employees could feel discouraged. And for business leaders, this is a potential co-pilot at work. Microsoft has already invested in ChatGPT, and now it is thinking of pumping in $10 billion more. And if you think this is not affecting you, it is. Artificial intelligence has found its way into our lives. And those who are looking to make money are openly welcoming it. For more on this, we are now joined by Daniel Ives from New York. He's a tech and business analyst, managing director and senior equity analyst at Wedbush Securities. Thank you so much for speaking to WION. Now, over the last several weeks, all anyone can talk about is ChatGPT and the magic it seems to work. People say they are impressed by it, they are intimidated by it. It is mind-blowing, Some say it's downright terrifying. If you could just explain to our viewers, what is this ChatGPT technology all about? What does it do? Is it something you would welcome? Is it something that would scare you?
Look, I think it's both. I mean, the reason Microsoft's investing $10 billion, and I think the valuation today is about $30 billion, overall for this company, it's because it's probably some of the best next-gen AI technology to ever come out. In terms of the algorithms, whether you talk about some examples on the consumer side, on the enterprise, and there's so many use cases for ChatGPT, and I think this is really right now an arms race in big tech. And it just shows this technology could be scaled, despite some of the downfalls, probably more than any other AI technology that we've seen to date.
All right. An arms race, as it were, in big tech. I think that's an interesting way that you've put it. But let's face it, that there are a lot of ethical issues involved here, aren't there? People are talking about the pitfalls of using ChatGPT, even though it seems to work miracles. But, there are all sorts of questions about the ethics of it. Could children, for example, use to cheat it? Could it lead to plagiarism? Jokingly or not so jokingly, some have also asked, are we going to end up with an almost brain-dead generation because people may just decide it's so much more convenient to use technologies like ChatGPT than to actually apply your own mind? How do you see this debate around it?
There's definitely a debate. I mean, when you have ChatGPT passes a Wharton MBA test, I think it speaks to just how powerful the algorithm is here. Clearly, within the education vertical and others, there's going to need to be some sort of guardrails around this. You talk about cheating in some other areas. But I do believe when it comes to search, enterprise, I think many consumers are going to use more and more of this technology in their everyday, especially as we see more and more artificial intelligence, not just on the mobile side, but really in almost an everyday sort of setting. I think this is important. And look, this is not stopping, because if it's not Microsoft, then it will be a Chinese competitor. It would be Google. It will be some other tech stalwart. Because we're right now in what's I'll call it $2 trillion artificial intelligence market that's just probably in the early days of playing out.
All right. Final question before we let you go, Daniel Ives. How do you even tell if a certain content has been created by a human or artificial intelligence? Recently, we saw a very interesting example of ChatGPT creating a rap song. And it was so good, many thought it could give rapper Eminem a run for his money.
Yeah, well, look, I think it just speaks to, you have the Eminem example, you have some of the academic. Right now, there's really no way to tell, if it's ChatGPT. There's some small code ways that as a developer, you could ultimately choose it. But look, I think that's part of the golden success, but also the scariness of this platform. We need to see how it all plays out, especially within Microsoft, because they just made a $10 billion bet. This is going to be integrated a lot more across the whole Microsoft ecosystem. So I think our days of talking about ChatGPT are just starting, in my opinion.
The days are just starting. Well, it's a bold new world that we're now living in, and clearly the march of technology is inexorable, whether you love it or you hate it. Daniel Ives, thank you so much for speaking to WION.